P2 in race 2, how would you assess the day?
Yeah, overall pretty good race. We started P4, but we managed to get a good start and slide into P2 in the second corner, and then I was just trying to push to catch the leader, but just not quite enough.
You had great pace late on in race 2. Was it part of the plan to manage the tyres early on?
Of course, in these temperatures you always want to manage a little bit, but I think I was probably just a lot quite quicker at the end. So yeah, I was just pushing as much as possible, but just couldn't quite get there.
And what can you do in race 3 tomorrow from P8?
We'll see. We didn't have the great quality, had a bit of traffic, so we didn't get the best time. But anything is possible. Maybe we can make a couple of positions and get some good points.
P3 in race 1, a nice podium, but did you just run out of time to catch Dimitrov?
Yeah, it was good. Like, we had really strong pace there, and because it's closing all the time on him, but yeah, couldn't quite get him in the end, but still good points. Obviously, hopefully in race 2 this afternoon we can gain a few more back on Alex, and then yeah, hopefully beat him tomorrow as well.
And we're about halfway through the season now, so how would you assess your performance so far?
I'd say consistent, to be fair. I've always been on the podium and scoring good solid points, but obviously we haven't been on that top step as much as we have needed to be. So that's where we're lacking in the points a little bit in the championship, but we're closing in. Momentum's with us again, so yeah, we're looking forward to it.
And do you have any plans for 2023 yet?
Nothing confirmed yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it and see wherever I end up, I'll be happy. Yeah.
So P12 in race 2, how would you assess the day?
It wasn't too good of a day because both first laps of the race, race 1 and race 2, I went off, and that cost me a lot of positions. And race 2, I just tried my best to come back, and luckily ended one position ahead of where I started, at least.
And what's Snett like to drive? How do you extract the lap time here?
I think it's just not making mistakes and just being as consistent as possible to kind of feel where to go faster. Because like if you make mistakes, the next lap you might not really know how to improve. So yeah, that's how I feel.
And what can you do in the third race tomorrow?
The third race tomorrow, well, we'll obviously look at the data and then, look for some improvement. And for me, the biggest thing will be to stay on the track on lap 1 and not lose any positions that way.
P5 in race 1, you had a bit of a battle out there. Was it a good race?
Yeah, obviously starting 8th, it's always tricky to get through the field, especially when you're that high, kind of in the mid-pack to start with, and you know that the people in front are going to be about your pace. So I didn't know what to expect. We just went out there and tried to do the best we could, and obviously I think I could be pretty happy with 5th considering how qualifying went.
And obviously it's quite hot here, so how hard is it to manage the tyres?
It's more managing myself is more the issue. Very, very hard, obviously. Tricky to maintain focus. It's easy to let mistakes creep in. So obviously you're pushing 100% every single lap you can. But obviously you just got to try and limit those mistakes. And that was where I was really starting to gain on P4. But I just needed more laps to catch him.
And of course we were at Knockhill last time out, and it's quite a bumpy circuit there. Is it been difficult or easy to adapt back to Snett?
Obviously we're driving the same car, so it's not too hard. Obviously it's a lot different, and this is a circuit that I do struggle on, so I knew I'd probably have my weaker results here, but that didn't affect me coming into this weekend. It's just a bit of a coincidence that obviously 8th is then the best that we could qualify. It was all about putting a lap together, and I just didn't do it, so I've only got myself to blame, but yeah, I think I could be overall fairly happy with so far this weekend.
Great work on the win. Ugo was challenging you late on, so were you feeling the pressure there, or were you just driving forward?
I wasn't really under much pressure in that race. It was very much just controlling the gap, and he chose a certain lap to properly push and start to close the gap, and I then just responded the next lap, and I had it covered pretty much the whole race, and it was just saving the tyres throughout the whole stint and making sure that I wasn't overstressing them, graining them or anything, and just keeping them in the best condition I could.
And it's a lot cooler now than it was earlier this afternoon, so how much has the track changed?
The track was much quicker. It was probably a lot quicker than qualifying as well. Obviously I think my best lap was like 3/10 off what pole was. It would have put me like P2 in quali or something, and that's on old tyres as well, so I think it shows how much the track was quicker, and that's all down to the track temperatures really plummeting and getting a lot colder, which is the reason why. But I think I also stepped it forward as well in the way that I was driving. I was basically using that race as a way to improve myself I knew I had weak points from qualifying, and I chose that race to really work on them while I was in the clean air, and I could really just focus on myself and hitting my points and braking points, things like that.
P2 in race 1, you got a great start out there. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was a good race, to be honest. I got a really nice start heading into T1, leading, and then into T2, still again ahead of Alex, and then I just got done on traction at the end of the going into T3. He was half a car alongside, and there was nothing really much I could do. And from then on, it was really keeping it consistent and trying to keep off Ollie, who was behind me, until the end of the race, which I managed to do. So P2s looked quite decent after the disappointing couple of last rounds.
And what's the car like to get off the line? Is it quite a fine line with the revs?
Yeah, it's definitely a fine line between getting a decent and a very good start, and I think I've sort of mastered it by now. So yeah, it was quite nice to get off the line and lead, but obviously you have to be there until the end, and we have to perfect that for next race.
And of course, we're about halfway through the season now, so how would you assess the season so far?
Yeah, it's been challenging, to say the least, and we've been working with the team strong with the cars, but we're progressing, which is the main thing, and now that we're at the front, we're hoping to continue the momentum into the next few rounds until the end of the season.
What did you make of it? Was it a good result?
Yeah, it was okay. Made a mistake in a couple of laps, couldn't find the pace. Found it too late, but Gray at least passed us, and could only manage P4 at the end. But overall, it was okay.
And it's quite hot here. How was the track? Is there any blistering on the tyres?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, tyres came in relatively early, and then it went off really early as well. So yeah, it's quite hard to manage, but yeah.
And what are you expecting later on in the reverse grid?
Go forwards, only forwards from there.
Start, but once you got it back, was it quite straightforward?
Yeah, I think I made a not so great of a start. I think after knockhill I was a little bit afraid to stall, so kind of just took it easy a little bit. But no, I managed to get him around the outside in turn 3, and from then on in it was just kind of trying to relax and do the best I can.
Of course, you're leading the championship. Are you thinking about that at all, or was it just one race at a time?
I think of course the championship always comes into mind, but I try to do it race by race. I think I always try to extend my lead and then try to do the best I can. I always go out there to win, so I think in time that will come with the championship as well.
And of course, you're racing, of course, in the British F4 Championship and in Italy. How are you managing that over the season, and are there any big differences between the two series?
I don't think there is that big difference. I think that the talent and drivers over here is just as good as it is over there. I think the grid over there is much bigger, but I think they're both equally very hard championships. So I'm really enjoying racing with both of them.
And of course, the reverse grid later on. What are you expecting there?
I think the reverse grid race is kind of just a race where you take as much as you can get. I think it'll be a little bit of carnage maybe, and I think this track will provide some good racing. So I think it'll be an interesting one. So just have to take what I can get.
P6 in race 2. Is that the best you could have hoped for?
Yeah, I think it was quite a messy one on lap 1. I think I tried to make a move around the outside, and I kind of got put on the grass, which didn't help. So yeah, I think if I could have got in front on lap 1, maybe a podium was possible. But I think no, I think I did the best with the situation I was in.
And of course, the race started quite late in the day. Is the track quite cool compared to earlier?
Yeah, I think the tyres are much older now, but the lap time was, I think, almost a second quicker than race 1. So yeah, I think it shows that when the track is a lot cooler, it's definitely much better.
And of course, you're starting on for race 3 tomorrow, so it's just all about a good start and driving away.
Yeah, I think the pace is by far the best at the moment. So I think just need to get a good start and get my head down and try to drive away.
Thanks so much.